Why hello there, my name's Arkthepenguin, and I hate getting my picture taken. There's the opening. I don't like it. Anytime me and a few friends or family go out somewhere fun, or like the holidays start creeping up and somebody's like, oh, we gotta take a picture to conserve the memory, I come prepared. But while I absolutely do hate having my picture taken in real life, I actually enjoy taking pictures both in real life and therefore also in video games, whether it be finding a beautiful location and taking a screenshot, or just having it as a feature in there, like something like Breath of the Wild. Or if it's just a game that's entirely based around photography, I enjoy it. However, those are few and far between. In fact, off the top of my head, the only games I can really think of that are like fully based around photography are Fatal Frame and Pokemon Snap. And I have yet to play Fatal Frame, so you can definitely tell by process of elimination and from the title of this video that today I am here to review new Pokemon Snap. But with all that said, let's abuse some Pokemon and play new Pokemon Snap. If they change the name of the apples to something that's not apples, to something that like insinuates that the Pokemon, that whenever you're throwing the apples at the Pokemon, they don't get hurt, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be very angry. I'm going to be very angry. They better not do that.
Why don't we start off with some simple history? Pokemon Red and Blue released on September 28th, 1998 in North America, and it blew up. In fact, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green are still in the top 10 best-selling video games of all time. Pokemon RGB captivated the lives of over 42 million people, and it was the humble beginning to my personal favorite franchise of all time. Since this game did come out later in the Game Boy's life, it actually looked pretty decent, especially regarding the sprite work and character designs. I mean, obviously it's a Game Boy game, so it's not aged the best, but for an original Game Boy game, it actually looks pretty decent.
What can I say? I like the formed Legos.
Pokemon Red and Blue served people well for a long time, but over time, people began to crave a 3D traditional Pokemon adventure game on the Nintendo 64, in line with what Nintendo did to the Zelda franchise and to the Mario franchise. And let me tell you, that is exactly what we did not get. Instead, the Pokemon games we got on Nintendo 64 included Hey You Pikachu, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, Pokemon Puzzle League, and Pokemon Snap.
Despite me being a lifelong Pokemon fan, I actually didn't play new Pokemon Snap until this year, whenever I got it as a birthday gift, alongside a few other games that unfortunately overshadowed it. I mean, I still do think it's a great game, and especially at the time, it was really unique, and like nobody had ever seen anything like Pokemon Snap before. I specifically remember one YouTuber calling it an on-rails Metroidvania. I believe it was Shane Gill from Did You Know Gaming.
Very unique, very well-made game. It's basically an on-rails Metroidvania.
Wait, what?
You go through that game, you get more points, it unlocks new items, and then you use those items to progress further in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you visit areas. Yeah.
And I mean, he got it pretty spot on, because that's pretty much what it is. You go, it's on rails, and you get stuff to upgrade to progress further in the game. People fell in love with this on-rails Metroidvania. Nintendo knew how much people wanted a sequel to it as well, considering every single E3 they would always ask a new Pokemon Snap. And Nintendo knew this, and so they jumped on it pretty quickly.
2 decades without anything on Pokemon Snap. 22 years. That is insane, man. But after 20 E3s of asking for a new Pokemon Snap, we finally got something. Not even at E3, because of the coronavirus. We finally got something. A snippet of information on a brand new Pokemon Snap game.
Huh. I wonder what the final name will be. I mean, they aren't wrong.
Let me tell you, if you thought that Pokemon Sword and Shield was a graphical evolution for the series, this game completely blows it out of the water, in my opinion. This is probably the best looking Pokemon game to date graphically. Well, it goes for the same plasticky style that so many other Nintendo games go for, but weirdly enough, this is actually the first game by Game Freak that goes for this style that I can think of off the top of my head. There are some plasticky looking things in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Let's Go, more so Let's Go, but this is the first game that they actually made that goes entirely for the plastic style, and that is not a bad thing in my opinion. Unless we're talking about the water. That looks a bit jank, but it definitely is not as bad as others make it out to be. Some compare it to the water textures in Roblox, and I mean, that's just an insult to Pokemon as a franchise. But despite the water's shortcomings, where the visuals truly shine is the diverse and unique environments. Every single time I enter a level, whether it be old or new, I always find myself finding some jaw-dropping landmarks that I never noticed before. While I do get a hearty dose of enjoyment from looking at these beautiful locations within these levels, the real meat and potatoes of the levels is the actual environmental interaction. Just like the first games, you can find secrets all throughout the levels, usually unlocking new ones. Most of the time in the first game, these secrets are triggered by making a Pokemon do something. For example, if you do a series of activities slowly through the cave level, you can eventually get an electrode to explode a cracked wall that you've been itching to see what's behind it. Stuff like this is what made so many people fall in love with the original Pokemon Snap, and what made it so charming and enjoyable.
Since I haven't really been playing the original that much because of this guy right here, I'm still on the first lake level. Or not the first level, it's the lake level. I'm still on the lake level because I haven't figured out what I'm supposed to do yet. But that was part of the fun of Pokemon Snap, you know, having to go through a level 10 freaking times just to figure out what you're supposed to do. Maybe getting a few high scores along the way, getting a few really, really good pictures. That was one of the best parts about Pokemon Snap, and just figuring out what you're supposed to do. Interacting with Pokemon that then make them interact with the environment. And I'm happy to report that this new one is almost as good as this one in terms of the environmental interaction. Oh, hey Pengu, how you doing?
Quack,
Good to hear. What brings you here?
quack.
Oh yeah, I literally just got done comparing the environmental interaction in both games. And I'm happy to report that this new one's interaction is almost as good as the originals.
Quack,
Yeah, almost. I just personally prefer the originals.
quack.
No, not at all, Pengu. I just personally think it's ever so slightly inferior.
Quack,
Yeah, see?
quack.
In my opinion, the interaction is just more of the same, but this time without the Pester Ball. Instead, you have Illumina Orbs, which are a more useful but simultaneously less fun replacement for the Pester Ball. These orbs are used to make a Pokemon glow and perform a unique action. Occasionally, quite a few times, I throw the Illumina Orbs at a Pokemon, and they just do nothing but just walk around all glowy. It's still enjoyable, but I would like it if there was an actual reason why my Illumina Orbs don't work every time. These orbs are used to make a Pokemon glow and perform a unique action. As an example, if you throw an orb at this Scorbunny right here, the fire he kicks up turns blue. Illumina Orbs are one of the many newly introduced mechanics that will help you out on your journey. The scan is yet another useful tool that you will use to discover things throughout a level. If you hold the X button, you perform a scan that scans a small portion of the area that you are in, and labels interactable objects and Pokemon. You can also use the scan to go down different paths. This is a very useful tool that you will use constantly to find what you are looking for, which, funnily enough, was almost never a Pokemon for me. I always used the scan to find crystal blooms or unique structures that would later become new areas or something like that. Since I just brought up the crystal blooms, I might as well do a quick rundown of them. Crystal blooms are what the professor in this game, Professor Mirror, uses to make Illumina Orbs. After a certain amount of time with a level, Mirror will ask you to take a picture of a glowing crystal bloom, which he will find and use to make the orbs. There are a bunch of them throughout a level, and to be honest, I am still trying to figure out what the point of the non-glowing crystal blooms are. Maybe as decoys, for whenever you need to find the glowing crystal bloom. Oh wait! I think the placement of the glowing crystal bloom might be random, so as you go through a level, you have to study the crystal bloom locations to make it easier to find the glowing one. Okay.
I've been trying to figure out what the point of the non-glowing crystal blooms are since I first got the game in early May. Am I just stupid?
As you go through a level, the actual level itself will gain experience, eventually leveling up to level 2, which will usually be a night version of that area. And after a certain period of time of leveling up, you unlock what are essentially boss levels. These boss levels have you taking picture of an Illumina Pokemon. Illumina Pokemon are currently exclusive to the Lental region, which is the region that this game is set in. This game also introduces a new picture rating system. Now, depending on the pose of your Pokemon in the photo, your picture will be ranked out of 4 stars. If the Pokemon is just chillin', 1 star. If the Pokemon is sleeping or something like that, 2 stars. If the Pokemon is doing some sort of epic pose, 3 stars. And if the Pokemon is doing something absolutely insane, 4 stars. And this new picture rating system goes even deeper than that. Your stars themselves are also rated from bronze to silver to gold and finally to diamond. What type of stars you get is determined by the amount of points you get, and the amount of points you get is determined by the exact same criteria as the first game. Size, direction, pose, background, just the normal stuff. 2,000 or under points, you get bronze stars. Lower end of 3,000 points, silver stars. Higher end of 3,000, gold stars. And finally, 4,000 and above is diamond. While to some people this might seem overcomplicated, this is not information you need to know to play and enjoy the game. Me personally, I love this new picture rating system. It makes going through levels more fun even if you don't see a new Pokemon or find the thing you need to progress. If you fail the objective, then you can just try to get some new high scores. Even if you don't get your star number upped or your star type upgraded, you can just see how close you can get to passing your old score. It's like an old school arcade game.
This is one of the many things that makes this game work so much better than the original for me. I mean, of course, yeah, the original did this super well. But man, this one just blows it out of the water. I forgot about one more mechanic, however. This is probably the one I've used the least. The music box, the music player, the music boy. I can't even remember what the freaking name of it's called.
The music player does what its name insinuates. It plays music. The only thing it really does is wake up sleeping Pokemon. It says it can make a Pokemon dance, but that only happened for me like once. They also renamed the apples to fluff fruits, probably to make it seem less abusey when you sack a Pokemon in the face with one. That was pretty pointless. But other than those, the new mechanics introduced in this game enhance the experience in so many ways. Even the music player, which is my personal least favorite of the bunch, doesn't bring down the overall package. It just does nothing to improve it.
Yeah, but that's all the new mechanics you'll be using inside the levels. Why don't we take a look at a new mechanic that I honestly didn't even know existed until just recently. The requests.
Quack.
Honestly, no. I mean, I even saw the characters making the requests.
Quack.
Hey, it's not my fault that my TV's aspect ratio cuts off the request box on the corner.
Quack.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, Pengu, you are probably the sassiest penguin I have ever known in my entire life, and I've known a lot of sassy penguins.
Basically how these work is one of the main characters will ask you to photograph a specific Pokemon doing a specific thing or in a specific place or both. And a lot of people have been going nuts for these, and while I do think that they are a fine addition, I'm personally not too crazy about them. Do I think they should be here, and would I definitely prefer them be here than not? Absolutely. But to be honest, I don't think they improved or diminished my experience. They were just kind of there for me. Another thing that was just sort of there was the photo editing, which I've calculated that I've used like maybe 2 times. Once again, I prefer it being here than not. A lot of people are really enjoying this. I just personally never use it. But aside from that, I definitely like the quality of life improvements from the first game.
Well, I don't really care too much about the 3 things that I just talked about, being the music player requests and photo editor. I still really like they're here. I just never use or do them. Sorry.
Now I feel like we should talk about the soundtrack. And if you know me, then you know that the soundtrack is one of the main criteria I judge a game on. And you could say that that's dumb because a game's soundtrack doesn't determine a game's quality, but a big part of the experience for a game or a film for me is the music that accompanies it. And I have to say, I am surprisingly mixed on this game's music. On one hand, new Pokemon Snap's music fits the tone perfectly. It's so enchanting and mystical, and it works so well. But on the other hand, this really isn't the type of Pokemon music, or music in general, that I like to listen to outside of the game. Other than that, I do really think it is a solid soundtrack. It's just not my type of music. But overall, is this game better than the original? In my opinion, yes, absolutely. New Pokemon Snap improves on so much from the first game and still manages to have new and interesting things. While yes, I do believe the interaction with the environment is slightly superior in the first game, and I was disappointed with the soundtrack personally, that did not diminish the experience for me.
If I had to give this game a rating, I'd probably give it like a 8 out of 10 or a A minus or a B plus or a thumbs up or a good or whatever. All that matters to me is that this is a quality game that I think you will enjoy if you are a fan of the original, and even if you aren't a fan of the original. I admit, I do think that it shouldn't be full price. I think $50 would suit what this game has to offer. But all that matters is this is a quality game that will definitely put a smile on your face, regardless of whether you're a fan of the original or not. Has it stopped recording?